Okay, and then 7.6 is the last question of this section and this whole paper for 10 marks. So let's get it. So the reaction between excess magnesium hydroxide MgOH2, I'll redraw this now as we've done in previous questions just to help see what we're working with, as well as draw the different beakers most likely. So we have the excess magnesium hydroxide MgOH2, a slightly soluble base. Okay, so they've told us it's a base, but it ends in OH, so that is helpful too. And nitric acid, which is an acid, a strong one, based on our previous discussion about indicators. Okay, occurs in an aqueous solution. Cool, so they've already been mixed with water, where it produces magnesium nitrate, a soluble salt and water. So there's like a salt precipitate chilling on top of this water thing, according to the following balanced equation below. They've already balanced it. That's important for any molar ratios going forward. So I'm going to rewrite this for us so we can see what we're working with and attach the information for each. So we have it up here. I've left out the aqueous portions and the liquid portion, but that should be all right. We'll come back to it if need be. And now we can start to plot the information they have for each. So they say 0.05 decimeters cubed of the MgOH solution. So we have our volume of 0.05 decimeters cubed, already in decimeters cubed, has a concentration, pretty good for us, cool, of 0.115 mol.dm to the -3. Is added to 0.02 decimeters cubed. So we're talking about our HNO3 solution over here. So we have 0.025 decimeters cubed over there, and it has a concentration of 0.095 moles. 0.095 moles.dm to the -3. HNO3 solution. So we're just for now working on this left side of our arrow over there in our reactants. And then it says calculate the pH of the final solution. So let's break this down part by part. So if we go ahead and we draw these two guys in separate beakers, before we combine them into one beaker, we will have something that looks like this. So we have our MgOH2 over there. We have our volume of 0.05 decimeters cubed over there. Our concentration of 0.115 mol.dm to the -3 over there. And then in a different beaker over here, which is our HNO3 over there, HNO3 over there, we have a volume of 0.025 and a concentration of 0.095 mol.dm to the -3. So right now these guys have different concentrations, different amount of OROS in water for that analogy, and different amount of volumes. So they're different sized beakers. This guy's a little bit smaller than this guy. But then what is happening? They say they're combining them into one beaker. They're mixing each other, and the reaction between excess magnesium hydroxide, which means there's more of our base at the end, which means we have a more basic solution. Okay, so we've combined them. Usually the volumes are additive. We'll see if that is something that they're mentioning here, but we're adding them and they're reacting. The OHs from this guy are reacting with the H3O pluses from our very strong acid, but in this case, there's just not enough volume of it to neutralize this base, which means OH minus, H3O plus. In this case, let's say we have an army of 4 people, for example. And on this side, we have an army of 2 people. These are our H3O pluses from our acid. These are our OH minuses from our base. The fact that it has excess magnesium hydroxide at the end of it means that in this war, one of these guys will take out one of these guys and give away an H and form water on both sides. Okay, so that becomes water when H3O plus gives an H back to OH, because then this becomes H2O and that becomes H2O and we have water, which means we continue with this analogy. Another guy takes out another guy in this war, and we're left with our excess magnesium hydroxide. We're left with an OH, meaning that on our scale over here, we had 1, we had 14, we have 7 over there. We're ending up being basic. So when we plug something into our pH equation, we might have to get our OH first because we end up with a pH that will be pretty high. So this is also something to keep in mind to help see that our answer is in fact high. If it is low or neutral, we have done something incorrectly because they said there's excess magnesium hydroxide. And if we know that this guy is in excess over here with OH minuses at the end, the way that we're going to get there to get our moles for our excess is to take the moles of the initial minus the moles of the reacted. because we want to know how much is left. This will tell us the pH of the final solution. So this is the setup. The excess is how much is left, which means we have to take how much we initially had from our MgOH, okay, which means we can calculate that in this beaker and subtract it from the amount that reacted. But we don't know how much reacted from this beaker, but we do from this beaker, because this was our limiting reagent, which means all of this ran out, okay? Which means to calculate the initial moles for this guy, we can then do our C equals N over V for this over here, this MgOH2. And we want the moles, which means we have the concentration in this beaker in isolation, which is 0,115 over there. The moles is what we want, and we have the volume in decimeters cubed already, so that is 0,05 over there, which means we can just go ahead and figure out the initial mole amount in this separate beaker for MgOH2, the initial amount in terms of moles. So if we times our 0,05 up over there, 0,00575 moles. And this is the amount of moles that we had in our beaker initially. And then at this stage, we need to see how much actually reacted of this. So that means we're working on this side where we have to work with our HNO3. We're going to treat it exactly the same as we did the previous one in isolation. We're then going to do a molar ratio from HNO3 to MgOH because they have a different amount of moles that ended up reacting. Because we're just looking in isolation, or we're trying to, at the MgOH2, the base that is in excess, because the excess, the leftover, is what will tell us our pH, which means over here, we can then do the same calculation with different values for our C equals N over V for our HNO3. Okay, so our N is what we want. Our C was given to us as 0,095, and our volume was given to us as 0,025. And then once again, we can multiply the 0,025 up to the 0,095, and our answer for our moles is 0,002375. A reminder that this guy has to do with our HNO3. And in this formula here, we're looking at our MgOH2. Which means we have the initial, we calculated that previously in this first beaker. So we have 0,00575, and then we need to see how much of it reacted completely with the thing that ran out first, our HNO3. By that, we have the amount of HNO3 in terms of moles, but we just have to do the molar ratio from our HNO3 to our MgOH2, which is a 2:1, which means HNO3 over here to our MgOH2 over there. HNO3 had a 2 over here on our initial equation, and MgOH2 had a 1 over there. So that is their molar ratio, so we can then get the amount of moles of the MgOH2 that did react, which means we calculated in isolation the amount of moles of HNO3, which was 0,002375, and then if we divide this by 2, we have 0,0011875. And now we have the amount MgOH that did react in this beaker, because this was the total amount of HNO3 that did run out, the limiting reagent, and then we did a molar ratio to get the amount of moles of the MgOH that did react. So the initial minus the reacted, which is that answer, 0,0011875, the initial minus how much did react, will give us how much is left over. Because if all of it reacted, we'd go this whole answer minus that whole answer, and we'd have nothing left. But they told us that it is an excess. An excess means we're left with OH minuses at the end. We're left with our MgOH2 in this beaker, which means we can just go ahead and subtract these two answers, 0,0045625, and this is in mole. And then at this stage, we have the amount of moles in excess of our MgOH2. So it is the whole MgOH2, but then in order for pH, we need to calculate the amount of OH minuses that are left in this beaker, which means at this stage, we have to do a molar ratio inside of this compound, where we have the amount of moles for the whole thing, and then we have to compare it to the molar ratio of the amount of hydroxides that can break off for this base. So we keep zooming in. We keep moving from beaker and beaker, and what makes this section trickier is that we're changing the context by which we're measuring things, which means that if we have our MgOH2 Pt.2, this is the amount of moles that is left in the beaker in excess. And then we're comparing it to our OH minus, the amount of hydroxides that can break off, and there's a 2 over here, which means we're going to multiply this by 2 because there's one whole MgOH2 over there, and then there will be 2 OH minuses that can break off inside of this compound, which means we have to do a molar ratio of 1 to 2, multiplying this answer by 2, which means we have 0,009125 for the amount of moles of OH minus ions inside this beaker. And now that we have the moles of the OH minuses that are left in excess, we can then go ahead and get the concentration of that, because then from there we've done a whole lot of stuff with moles that we can then try and get a square bracket over here having to do with concentration. So if we are working with C equals N over V, this is all for our OH minus ion. We have this answer for our moles. So we have 0,009125 over there. And then volume at this stage, we have to see we're in this big beaker over here, which means we are not the 0,05 over there or the 0,025 over there. They haven't mentioned it here, but they usually do in papers say that the volumes are additive when we add them into a new beaker, which means that the 0,05 plus 0,025 gives us a total volume of 0,075 dm3. We're just adding the amount of volumes. If you were to pour Oros in one and Sprite in another, this would be the collective volume. They would add up directly, and that is how we treat these questions when they are added to the same beaker, which means that this will be our volume plugged into this formula because they are now in one bigger beaker with a new combined amount of solution, which means we can write 0,075 over there and then plug this answer in our calculator. And for our concentration of our hydroxide ions left over, we have 0,12166 mol.dm to the -3. And at this stage, we have earned 6 marks. We are 4 marks away from our answer, but now we actually have the amount of concentration of our OH minus ions specifically in this beaker at the end, because this excess magnesium hydroxide is what is remaining. We've run out of our HNO3 and we only have our MgOH2 in there that is broken off, and we have our OH minus ions that could not be neutralized because there were not other H3O pluses to neutralize them. So that means we're just working in pH land, and now we can go ahead and write down these two formulas. We haven't started in H3O plus, and in order to get pH we need the H3O plus, which means we need both of these formulas. So we're going to start in this formula over here, and we can rewrite this portion over there. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. Okay, so we have our Kw, which isn't as important, but it is there, which is the concentration, square brackets, of our H3O pluses multiplied by the concentration, square brackets, of our OH minus ions equals, the value is what is important for this equation, 1 times 10 to the -14. It says at a certain temperature, 298 Kelvin, but they didn't specify temperature. But if ever we have OH minus ions, we have to work with this formula, whether they speak about the specific temperature or not, unless they specify another temperature and another value amount for this, which just means we can go ahead and write 1 times 10 to the -14 equals 1 times 10 to the -14. So then, ignoring that portion of it, because that is just the symbol we're looking for, we have the concentration of our OH minus ions, which is over here. So we have 0,12166 over there, and we want the concentration of our H3O plus ions, so we can plug it into our pH, and this just remains on the right side over there. So now we're just treating it like a normal sum, imagining that this whole thing is X. So we can go ahead and divide our 0,12166 on both sides, and our answer there for our concentration for H3O plus ions is 8,219 times by 10 to the -14. That is a multiply over there, and that is a -14. And now we have the H3O plus. The reason we need our H3O plus is because that is the H in pH. Okay, we aren't getting the POH over there. We don't want this guy. This is a different method of doing it. We don't want the hydroxides. We want the H from our hydroniums. And now we have that, which means we have it in terms of this last equation. So we can just go ahead and write this down and solve for our pH, which means pH equals negative log of the concentration of H3O plus ions, which means we just need the pH. We aren't unwrapping logs in this scenario. We can just plug our values in and solve for it in our calculator, because H3O plus, the concentration of it is this whole value over here, which means we have 8,219 multiplied by 10 to the negative 14. And that means our final answer is 13,085. And based on our initial statement, we knew that there'd be more hydroxides left, and therefore we would have a more basic solution. And in this case, it is very basic, chilling almost all the way at the top of our pH scale, with acidic being here, neutral being there, and basic being here, meaning that that was the final answer for the pH of the final solution. That earned us 10 marks over there and 25 marks over there for the last question and last section of this paper. And to reiterate, we got the moles of the initial. So we had our MgOH2 over here in one beaker, which is our base that was in excess, the HNO3, our acid that was over here in another beaker, and that was what ran out first. We poured them into one beaker and they reacted, and then we were left with an excess magnesium hydroxide solution, meaning that our solution ended up being more basic, which means we were looking at moles first, and in order to get how much was in excess of our MgOH2, we then had our initial from the first beaker, plugged that in, minus the amount that reacted completely, because the HNO3 reacted completely, but then we had to do a molar ratio to get it in terms of MgOH2. So we had how much was here minus how much reacted, and then we had how much was left over. From there, we then did a molar ratio inside our compound, inside our MgOH2, comparing our MgOH2 to our hydroxide ions that actually remained there, because we need our hydroxide or our H3O pluses in order to calculate pH. And in this case, it is more basic, so there's more hydroxide ions. Based on our analogy, there not being enough H3O plus ions to neutralize the OH minus ions with this army that we had going on. Okay, so we then did a molar ratio inside our compound, comparing the amount of moles that we had in excess for the whole compound compared to the amount of OH minus ions that would break off. Once we were there, we then calculated the concentration of that amount of moles of the OH minus ions over here inside the additive volume of this whole beaker, because the volume of these two guys added up, and that is what we were dealing with here to then get the concentration, the square brackets for just our OH minus ions, which means we're now in pH land, where we could then go ahead and plug into this first equation where we have a placeholder for the concentration of the OH minus ions, and then can calculate the H3O plus ions, because that is what we need based off of this constant in order to plug into our actual pH calculation. Based on the method that we were using, there is another POH method, but we didn't use that method. We might see that in other later videos, but it helps to find one method that works and stick with that, because in here we had our H3O plus ions, the concentration of it, and we could then plug it in to our final equation to get the actual pH of this final solution, which is very basic based on the fact that we had more OH minus ions left at the end. Great job, guys. Let me know if there are any questions in the comments below and I will get to them, and otherwise I will see you in the next video.